We are back. This is the Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. So get your horns up because here we go. Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. I'm Joshua Fisher along with Alexander Desopoulos, Nikki Snacks Crider, and the Quan Cosby. We are back, boys. Releasing this thing on Wednesday. That means we have 48 hours to drink the kool-aid until our hearts are ripped out of us. I mean, first off, the biggest blessing of the whole March Madness thus far is A&M and OU getting skunked, especially A&M, who totally deserved to be in the tournament in some capacity. Texas of the North, Michigan gets in after almost having a losing record. And their coach, playing fight night on the sidelines. So A&M getting skunked is great to see. We draw Virginia Tech first, but we're a 6 seed, and our ladies, the women's basketball team, is a 2 seed, and they have a real opportunity to cut down the nets. Our baseball team has come back down to earth a little bit. Last time we were with you, Quan, we hadn't played that gauntlet yet. We dropped 2 of those 3 games against the big programs. We lost to UCLA. We lost back-to-back in South Carolina. So the boys have to right the ship a little bit. But we'll start with Texas basketball. A lot of people are saying I think it's unfortunate because a lot of the people that we talk to, the fans and the people who really follow the team, are expecting to lose. And quite frankly, I don't know how you feel, Quan. Nick feels like we're going to lose.
How are we not? I mean, again, I love everything about them. I'm going to co-sign the Big 12 champs, Texas ladies basketball team. Hook them. Tower was lit. That was badass. And but our basketball team, man, they were inconsistent as it was, giving up huge losses, having those lulls, all of that good stuff. That was, even before Mitchell disappeared.
Mm-hmm.
And then we kind of limped into the Big 12 championship, let a TCU team who we had beat twice knock us out. How could we have an ounce of optimism? And then you fast forward even, a year ago when we won the Big 12 tournament and got beat by ACU. So we don't have the optimism, the history of why we should be so fired up about this team moving forward. We didn't have it, a year ago in this time, and they did some positive things. So now the mindset they're in without winning a Big 12 championship, I'm a little worried. And again, last but not least, their opponent, VTech, is hot as anyone right now.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot of reasons. All of us has just a little knot in our gut preparing for, the game this week.
Well, yeah. I think it's good for us, for our sanity, that we are going in with low expectations, right? I mean, we're playing against the ACC champion here who can bang threes, and it's basically the opposite of what we can do. And I mean, I have us as a first round exit in my brackets, and I'm just not getting my hopes up, but we are a favorite in this game somehow.
One?
Yeah, that's 1.5 on betonline.ag. Go to betonline.ag today. Support betonline.ag. Use the promo code BELIEVE, BLEAV, and get a welcome bonus for the boys. Yeah, we are a little bit of a favorite over here, which is great. I mean, look, last year, expectations. This is before we knew you, Quan. I had us going all the way. The Kool-Aid wasn't even being drunk. It was like I was swimming it. I took a bath in it. Then I drank it. Then I marinated the chicken in it. And then I passed it around to all my neighbors. And it was like we were at Christmas, and I see the box, and the box has my name on it. And I know I'm Jewish, but I have experienced some Christmases in my life. We come down the stairs. There's the box. It says Josh. I rip it open, expecting a PS5. And like 12-year-old me gets like a toaster. Like, what am I?
Some socks.
Yeah, a toaster, and here's some socks to cushion.
Hopefully this year it's like a poorly wrapped box, or like just cardboard that just came from the Amazon package that wasn't even bothered to be wrapped. And maybe it's something really sweet. Hopefully that's what this year is.
You got a toast. That's like such a utilitarian gift. Like what 12-year-old needs a toaster?
Yeah, it was a PS5 box, but it has socks in it.
Yeah, you've seen those.
Yeah,
Parents do
that's
that.
a better,
So cool.
much better analogy. That's
Yeah, that I
Juan's
mean,
here to copy edit your bizarre analogies, Josh.
I'll die on the hill. That was a solid analogy. Nick, you're right. I mean, like, look, I hope that this is like an Amazon box that I get, and I'm like, what Schmegegi got me like this like no effort gift, and then it's like a Theragun. Is that sad? Like that's like I'm 20. Like when I was 22, PS5 would have been awesome. Now that I'm 27, like I'm praying for a Theragun. For any that's exactly what we need. But you know what? It's kind of seeding is just like it's like poor luck because this, like you said, Quan, this Virginia Tech team couldn't be hotter. They beat Duke pretty handily, at least in the second half. And one of the glaring things that they had going for them was their ability to shoot the three ball, which we've been saying pretty much since game one is our weakest point. And there are a couple of weak points. Our savings grace is we play really strong defense, stronger defense than Duke, you know, which is
stronger defense than most of the ACC, man. That saving grace too. I heard Coach Beard on the radio earlier. They're battle tested going to the Big 12, man. The Big 12 was real, and certainly that defense, the Baylors, the Kansases, they can shoot the three ball as well. Now, I think this stat I heard that VTech has over like 200 more attempts than Texas. That is insane to me because I felt like at times we shot the ball too many times. Like, I was like, damn, we shoot another three. But I heard there's maybe 200 more attempts this season. So they live and die on it. So if that defense, to your point, Josh, can get it, you know, cause problems, be in their face, you know, get them off, and then I think it'll help our chances. It'll at least make me feel better if the first half, you know, they're shooting 20% from the three line versus 40, 50, 60 that we've seen at times.
I don't want to be I don't think I am. I'm not the eternal optimist on this podcast normally. And I definitely haven't been throughout the basketball season, but I actually think we're going to win this game. I do. I believe that their undersized guards are going to have a tough time with our good sized, long, athletic guards that are going to attack them defensively. Their two best players, at least in that, you know, ACC championship game, were their two guards, both upperclassmen, which both these teams have a lot of guys who are experienced, have been to the big dance. But I think that we're going to, my optimism is going to take us past the round of 64. And then I think we're going to run into a buzzsaw with Purdue and Edey and Williams, the two-headed titans that they have on Purdue are going to absolutely demolish us. That's what I think is going to happen. So I actually think we're going to win. They really do. He's 7-4. I actually think we're going to win round one though. And I think we're going to surprise some people.
All right.
Yeah. We'll pick your poison. You want to lose round one? Want to lose round three to Purdue? You want to lose in the Sweet 16 to Kentucky? I mean, that's how it's going to really shape up.
Oh, we're in a brutal, you know, bracket. It's some folks on our side of it. And that's certainly a factor. It's as much as I'm being very reserved on my feelings for this game because you know, the heartbreak for me in Texas sports outside of, I take that back. Me in Texas men's sports outside of track and diving.
There you go.
I'm worn out. By the way, another national championship for the men's track, diving. I mean, they're balling, but football, baseball, basketball has been a struggle bus. So I actually think we're going to win too. As crazy as it sounds, because of that experience, because of the defense I've seen when it matters most. My only worry, I guess, is are we mature enough to not try to match them in a 3-point contest? Are we going to play, if they do jump out, you know, make a couple of them, get started, are we then going to start launching some and coming out of our you know, our shell, coming out of our game and panicking? Because unfortunately, I've seen that a few times this year.
Yes, that's a major issue is us trying to play to their game and trying to outshoot them and outscore them, which, look, if they come out and they start firing and they're hitting shots and we find ourselves down 23-10 to start the game, we're going to have to adjust and score the basketball because at that point we're down 13 points. But if we go into the half and it's like 36-33 or even better, if the score is like 26-20, like, yeah, like we put up nothing, but that means we're playing our brand of basketball like we did against TCU. We shot well above our weight class against TCU in the first half of that game, like last week, but we played an excellent brand of defensive basketball. The script completely flipped in the second half, and the more glaring stat was how many points we gave up. Not that, look, we scored 22 points and a half. Like, all right, we're not that good offensively. We know it's still low. We know we're not that good offensively. But giving up 40 is very uncharacteristic of us. And I think that this Virginia Tech team, while on one hand they got really hot, on the other hand, they needed to get hot because they were a fringe team. They almost didn't make it. Had they not done had they lost to Duke, they might not even have made the tournament. It might have been A&M instead of them, or whoever was the first four out. You know, it's SMU, OU. SMU like gets like killed every year. I feel so bad. There was 1 year where like SMU was like ranked and they didn't make the tournament.
I saw that. So that's the funny thing about, and I'm glad you touched on that because I had a SMU donor hit me up crying about getting screwed again. And better than that, I had an Aggie colleague who doesn't even really pay attention. Put like this: before the SEC announcement was made, I thought he was a 2%. Since that has happened, I get a call every time something goes wrong from an A&M standpoint. Mm-hmm. So kudos to VTech on winning the ACC because you knocked out a few more Texas teams and that team up north that I don't give a what about. Yeah. So I am happy about that with a VTech, but now y'all need to take an L from us.
Yeah. I think the reverse, right? So I think that VTech gets in and they play a bunch of extra games. And for us, we go out early and have some days off. So maybe that extra rest, some reassessment of how we play can maybe work in our favor on a team that's not as fresh as us, the way they've had more days off. So
yeah, that's a good point.
That's I mean, that's a great way to look at it. I'm down. Look, if we're gonna start being optimistic, I'll join the club. Like, don't have to twist my arm. I'm
just trying to find reasons to like believe in this team at this point. It's hard.
Well, if we get to Purdue, I don't think we're gonna if we want to play like okay, yes.
We're toast. We're toast if we get to the second round.
Purdue's good, dude. I'm not feeling good about that one.
Bro, I told Nick a month and a half ago, like earlier into the season, I really think Purdue can win the whole thing. I think Purdue is totally capable of winning the whole thing. I think it's plausible. I think they have size. They have a great guard. They have ability to shoot the three. Like, they could win this whole tournament, and I wouldn't be surprised at all. That being said, if it gets to a point, like no, Oregon State was a 12 seed last year. No one thought anything of them. No one thought anything of UCLA. They were a playing team. Point being, you just got to win one game. And then you just got to win one game. And if you take it like that and are not looking ahead, like, I don't know about, I mean, it would be interesting to talk to somebody who's had this mindset, and maybe we could pull, from talk to, like, see if we could get Raymond Felton and Sheldon Williams just to come on with us and discuss it. Like, as like a 1 or a 2 seed, when you're pretty much automatically looking ahead, quote unquote, like if you're a 1 seed, you're looking to, like, Baylor's looking to UNC or whoever wins that. Is it Marquette? Whoever wins that game.
Yep.
Oh, is that Shaka?
Shaka. Yeah.
Nice.
We were talking about it yesterday on the charity stripe that, man, that would be one pain in the ass and hell of a parlay if Shaka Smart ended up winning, Rick Barnes ended up winning, and Texas ends up losing in the first round.
What did I say? I said if Shaka, Rick Barnes go to the Sweet 16 and we lose in the first round, I will let Nick and Alex and our guest Mark Ellis, shout out to him yesterday, all take turns dropping a 40-pound kettlebell on my foot. Like, that's how, what did you call it?
That's how confident you are that Shaka's not getting there.
That's how sad I would be. I wouldn't even care anymore. It would just be like the most ridiculous. It would be the most Texas thing. Like, if Shaka made a run in the tournament, it would be the most Texas thing of all time.
Big time. Yeah.
Shaka is a good dude. So if it happened,
I'm sure,
happy for him, but I would just, to your point, Texas, really.
Yeah, no, I'm happy that you've been able to find success early on. I would say, like, our savings grace on this side of the bracket is, like, there's just so many good teams that, like, can knock anybody off, right? Like, Marquette and UNC are both capable of knocking off Baylor, right? That would take them out of the way. And of course, there's UCLA as well, and there's St. Mary's, and
Baylor has one of their big men out too.
Yeah, exactly.
So anybody can win, and that's
JTT.
What's cool. There's always, and I want y'all. I pay attention to March Madness, certainly on that level. Y'all pay attention to it way more than me. Is there one team? You've talked about Purdue possibly making it. So many, of course, Baylor could, Kansas could, really a lot of good teams, Gonzaga, we haven't even talked about them. Is this a year where it really isn't that team that you're just like, oh, they're going to run through it?
There's no
you always
team.
have the Cinderella stories, but I'm sorry, but I don't know if there's, in watching more college basketball than I have in a long time because of, the podcast and the show, no one individual, sure, but there's no full kind of team or school that I was just like, oh damn, they're just they're in a league. There's no Georgias and Alabamas and from a football standpoint this year, in my opinion.
Or even like the Gonzaga from last year isn't the same. Like last year, everyone thought that Gonzaga was like the clear-cut favorite, and then Baylor, of course, and they ended up winning it. But yeah, I think you're right. I think this year it's pretty wide open. It's kind of anyone's ball game. Anyone from a 1 seed to a 4 seed can win it. I mean, there's a lot of people picking UCLA to win it all. There's a lot of people picking Tennessee. I think Toss has Tennessee winning it all.
What's crazy is at one point Auburn was number 1 and nobody's picking them.
Exactly.
You were picking them to lose. Like I made a bracket where they lose to Miami, who beats USC, and Miami's the 10 seed. Like it's that there's that much parity. Toss and I did have the same gut check winner, which was Kentucky, and Nick went with Arizona, which I had a phone call. One of my buddies called me when I was in the car today, and he's like, the only team I haven't really watched, and you might know better, have a better handle because they're West Coast, which, by the way, I don't know if we've spoken on this podcast about it, Quan. My middle sister went to Arizona, and my least favorite coach of all time is Sean Miller. I think he sucks. I've never seen somebody do so little with so much. I also hate the Pac-12 because I think they're the most poorly televised conference in all of sports.
Oh, that's for sure.
And I do think it's unfortunate because I think like Nick's pick for Arizona to win, they were awesome against UCLA. Score in every facet. They're fast. They're physical. They're long. Like Toss, who brought up someone's length before. Like Duran is long. Terry, who's got no relate. There's another Terry. Like, isn't that crazy? There's a point guard Terry on Arizona. No relation to Jason Terry, which I was shocked about. He's long and he's athletic. I mean, they've got size. I mean, this is a team that can really compete. But on that bracket, though, like if Villanova, I bet on Villanova to win the whole thing just based on the odds and everything. Like Villanova and Tennessee could easily win it. Gonzaga should be the favorite in their bracket, but if Duke knocked them off, I wouldn't be surprised. If Duke lost to Michigan State in round 2, I wouldn't be surprised. Or Davidson, for quite frank. There's nothing that's going to happen this year that's going to shock me. I think the biggest shock would be Wisconsin winning the whole thing. I think they're a house of straw.
What are they? They're a 3 seed.
I have them getting popped by Iowa State in round 2, baby. I think Quan, you said it. The Big 12 year after year is the best basketball, the deepest basketball conference and the most disrespected. Like people, like Baylor was the best team last year. And I, for one, was like, Gonzaga is the best team I've ever seen. But Baylor was the best team last year. And time again, it's a situation where not many people we speak to are taking Baylor seriously as a 1 seed, me included, quite frankly. I think UNC is going to beat them, but that's because of injuries. No one's picking Kansas that I've spoken to go far. Even Kansas fans that I've, touched base with, they're like cautiously optimistic. And then we have a guy like Brockington who's averaging 17 points per game in Big 12 play. Like and that's against Big 12 defense. What's going to happen when he, beats LSU, who's lost their head coach, and then he goes against Wisconsin, where they just kind of run the score in the Big 10, and he's going to go for 30, and everyone's gonna be like, whoa, an 11 seed Iowa State. Like where did this come from? They'll be like Oregon State last year for sure. Like they're always a good program.
You didn't even mention the Horned Frogs, who beat us, of course. And then Texas Tech, who since January, people have said that that's a team to look out for at the tournament.
Yeah.
I mean, that yes, you're right, because I felt I should go without saying, but Tech deserves a nod, and they will have Bama or Duke in that bracket. But Tech can kind of go through with Adams. He was a great head coach. O'Banner was an amazing pickup. Shannon Jr.'s turned it on, especially since the start of the new year. And they have a couple guys they could shoot, and they have a guy that's a stud, and they could kind of go through, and all of a sudden, next thing you know, be in the Final Four, and everyone's like, what happened with Gonzaga and Mark Few again? And TCU, I think Arizona is extremely strong, and Nick should feel confident in his pick. But like, if TCU beat them, like, would I be shocked? No. If Creighton beat Kansas, would I be like, anything could happen this year? And that's why this tournament is gonna help college basketball, I think, because I think
I agree.
I think a lot of people love stars, but the only thing better than a star is a good storyline. Game of Thrones, they killed Sean Bean. Spoiler alert, episode 9. Toast Malone. See ya. Thanks for coming. You know, the storyline carried it. There weren't major stars in that TV show. It's one of the greatest TV shows of all time. Honestly, quite ditto with. It's true. Like a storyline trumps a star. There's not a lot of major stars in this tournament, but the storylines and the drama and the games are going to be fantastic. So I think that really takes it to the next level for me.
Yeah,
I agree.
There are a lot of stars. I think that they're not all playing on the same team though, which is something that's cool and not something that we saw when RJ Barrett and Zion Williamson were on the same team when they played for Duke, right? Like, I do think that if Gonzaga had not lost that game to St. Mary's, they were the number 1 overall seed. And they're obviously a 1 seed at that. They would have been head and shoulders the pick. They still are plus 350 to win it all, which is tremendous odds to win the entire NCAA tournament, which is 6 games, 6 wins in a row. So I do think that odds on favorite wise, like, everyone thinks they're going to win.
I think it speaks even more to what we're talking about. There's some great players, some good teams, but outside of you pick Gonzaga because of their returning guys. You pick them because they got there last year. You know, there are a lot of pieces were already there, but everybody else, you just anybody, which adds again to college basketball looking as good as it can on this level. And I know we started and touched on even, and I think there's an element of that on the women's side too. Usually you have about 3 or 4 schools that they're going to run away with it. They're going to be in the Final Four. That's how it happens. But a Baylor who we beat, you know, who Texas beat in the Big 12 championship, first time, freaking, 13 games or something like that. The teams across the board on that level, I just think it's going to be a pretty damn exciting and fun March Madness on both sides of it. And it's one of those times where I know some of my family walked in there like, and nobody hammered me for this. We're like, Daddy's watching girls basketball. I'm like, is that much fun, man? I'm rocking and rolling. And so I'm excited for what March Madness is going to be on both sides of it, and dang sure going to tune in. So,
any greatness is fun to watch. Anyone who hasn't watched Caitlin Clark play is missing out, because that girl
on Iowa.
Caitlin Clark on Iowa is insane.
She's incredible. She's incredible.
She shoots bombs. Yeah. We'll be optimistic for our boys for sure. A couple quick hitters, obviously baseball. I think you're going to lose some games, come back down to earth a little bit.
Season.
It's a long season.
And you're certainly going to lose some games when you lose your day 3 starter and Witt, and he's a day 3 starter that could have been a day 1 starter. And so when you have that level of guy they're a little off kilter a little bit because, after that, they haven't quite adjusted. However, they also were playing a gauntlet, man. They were playing some top teams, to Bama, to LSU, so many good teams at the Houston tournament. And then, Tennessee. And then they go to South Carolina. So there's a little time right now to reset and figure out again who that, now baseball's that sport. You got to play every night. Oh, by the way, Texas State's pretty damn good.
Yeah, they're not like
they're really good. And so they haven't had that woosah moment to reset after losing a guy on that level. And then unfortunately, good Lord, Austin Todd, man, he lost him again for now. And so there's been some adjustments, early adjustments. Dude, we talked about it when they were 11-0. I went and watched them. There wasn't a team in the country that was going to get close. It was just going to be those teams are going to hope to score 3. Our offense is, Ivan, Melendez is just absolutely throwing out bombs every other day.
Bro, he can hit.
Yeah, dude, it just smoking them. Boom, boom. Hit 2 the other day in South Carolina. So they have to reset. It's a long season. You can't go in the season not expect something like this to happen. So I think it's about that time for them to get back on that page, to get back and figure that piece out and see which one of these young folks are going to take that day 3 spot. And I think they're going to be fine. We're still
they've got
certainly one of the top teams.
They've got a 6-game stretch. It's not like they get a reprieve in the middle of the season where they get like some time off, but they've got a 6-game stretch against, College of Charleston, the Citadel, 3 games against Incarnate Word, and then Central Arkansas before we take on Tech in a 3-game series. So get your juice back a little bit with those six games, all winnable. We'll be the heavy favorite in all of those games. So not to say that we won't drop one of them, but like a good time to get back into rhythm, take the pressure off yourself a little bit before the season really starts to pick up.
Exactly. Yeah, I really like how baseball schedules kind of lay themselves out. I mean, just because baseball is such a sport where like, you go in slumps, you go in waves. And so it's nice to kind of get back on the same page. They do a good job of scheduling it out where they have more easy matchups in the middle of the season and ramp it back up.
Yeah, that's cool. I mean, losing Tanner with TJ is just, it's tough for him too, because he was like a top pick, heading into next year. So hopefully, he's going to be out for the year and obviously into next year as well. But hopefully we can get him back in the rotation.
And Tommy Johns, man, back in the day, especially back when I was in the minors, it was almost like, all right, your career's over. But medicine, now they're coming back, and if it works itself out and it's in his will, I mean, it really. Some people are coming back stronger than ever, at least, mindset and, kind of a reset. It's almost like a fresh one, but you hope that for him because he is such a baller and can do this for a very long time. So, but at the same time, like we're talking about, now it's time for the next man up. They're talking a lot about, Zeke doing that back, Greg Swindell doing that back in their day when they lost a couple of pictures. So, a highly ranked team is going to need another one of those. Now, you may not get 18, 19 wins out of a freshman, but if you can get 10, 11, 12, then I think they're still, the heavy favorite going into Omaha.
Love it. Love it. Love it. And then last but not least, Arch Manning, he's coming to visit Austin again. So
he is, man. And I hear, there's some moves being made. Georgia's out of it. One of their good friends that was on that coach's staff stepped away. From what I hear, I'm hearing it's us in Bama, and man, I mean that's like what the 7th, 8th trip to Austin. I mean it's concerts are rolling. I'm hearing the Manning family are very interested in some things going on in the Moody, all kinds of good stuff. So, I talk about odds, man. I think ours are rising by the day from an Arch Manning standpoint, and I just need him to say yes before the second week of the 2022 season.
Yeah. Well, as we all see, though, like when you say yes, they could always decommit, but I don't necessarily think that he's the type of guy who would do that. Right. I mean, you never know, but at the same time, like with all these transfers and with everything going on these days, like you just never know. A commitment doesn't really hold merit like it used to.
By the way, I think we just landed another 4-star D lineman, didn't we?
Yeah, I think we did today. Sark after or Sark before dark is what they were calling.
So again, things are still going the way they need to. We would really, really love to get Manning, and I'm with you, Nick. I just the due diligence he's done, the very methodical process, list, all the ways, and just his family's background. They're more, likely to not make a decision versus, in my opinion, to decommit once they made that choice because they're taking their time. They're going about it the right way. It's certainly, in my opinion, very relationally driven. And so I like our chances for a lot of reasons, but I'll talk to some of them later on, but I like our chances.
If hopefully Arch picks us and then hopefully after that, some of our Longhorns get picked in the NFL draft at the end of April. Did you guys know that a kicker from Texas not from the university, but from the state, has not been drafted since 1987.
I did not know that at all.
Who was it? Do you know who it is?
Jeff Ward. Yeah.
So that's very weird. And it also, to me, tells even more of the stories, though. So hold on, you mean like place kicker then? Because I was about to say Michael Dixon was drafted.
Place kicker.
Because I'm sitting here going, you got arguably the best kicker and punter in the league from the UT in Dixon, and clearly Tucker's not. Dixon is an argument. Tucker, I don't care what anyone says, because a lot of non-biased Longhorns say Tucker is the GOAT. And so NFL GMs you do a little bit better job in that department, because there's been some absolute beasts come out of this state as a kicker and as a punter, clearly.
It's such an important position in the NFL, though. I really wouldn't be surprised if our guy Cameron did get taken in, round 1 through 7.
He might be the only guy drafted from Texas this season. I mean, the other option is Joshua Thompson. But other than that, there's not really any Texas draft prospects.
Which is crazy. I mean, we spoke to Menahue last week.
Wow.
It was last week we spoke to Charles?
Yep.
Dude, time is moving at a snail's pace. I don't know about anything. I think I said this the other day to somebody. We spoke to Menahue last week, and he didn't get too into it, but you could tell by his all these guys are coming out and they're good. Like Elliott was good before he got hurt. BJ is good on the Dolphins. And they're not superstars per se, but Caden's was better than a 5th round pick last year.
Oh yeah.
And then he was played better than a 6th round pick. Like these guys have played better than their draft slots, a lot of them. And so, yeah, hopefully, I think a big thing, whether we win the Natty or not next year for Arch Manning, the big kicker is going to be how Quinn plays. If Quinn dominates in Sark's system, if Arch goes, okay, Quinn's kicking ass in the system, I'll come in, I'll sit behind him for 1 year, and either he saves the program or he puts us in a place where the program can be saved and I'm the one to do it. It's the same thing. We've said it time and time again. Whoever wins for the New York Knicks first, they're going to build a statue next to the Empire, next to the Statue of Liberty for them. Seriously. Because that's how we feel. Vince can't walk into a bar on 6th Street. Can't, unless he wants to get blackout drunk from just free shot after free shot. You know what I'm saying? It's these guys, that whoever does it is the guy. Burrow is the guy at LSU. We want that, and somebody should want to come and be that. That's why I think we're appealing.
I think with the pick today, and just even being in that final 2 after a 5-7 season, I think that says a lot for where we're going, and that's the thing we got to be real about. It takes time, it takes a process, and I digress on some picks because, by the way, my man Quandre Diggs just got the bag big time. Kudos to him. Andrew Beck re-signed and with the Broncos. So it's a lot of good things happening.
Connor Williams,
you and everybody's point. Who else?
Connor Williams.
Connor so everybody's doing their thing. So as we're talking about recruiting, as we're talking about the league, that's what we have to fix. Because like Charles, I think many of you, a couple of teams, but good, playing time, starting doing his things. When Watt went out, he tore it up. We went over San Fran, one of the best defenses in the league, and had a significant PT. That's it. Everybody says, what is it? What is it? That lack of development and costing guys, pick, status, all the above. Or if we're past that with this staff, if we're developing guys on this level, that's where I think Arch comes. That's where I think the next guy comes, the next D lineman, the next linebacker. I was talking to, of course, we talked to DJ, and DJ and I golfed yesterday, and we were talking about that. And heck, to my point where I was like, DJ, you ever want to coach? You want to go over there, be like an analyst like Huff and all of that? We have to find our best way with 15, 10 career, NFL guys in town to help some way, form, or fashion develop some of these guys. Because I think as we do that, they're better on the field. They get drafted higher. It comes back to that Mac Brown level flow where we had 58, 59 guys in the league.
Yeah, absolutely. Again, D'Onta Foreman got paid today too. He's still in the league, as a backup to the Panthers. I thought he was with the Titans.
McCoy, baby. He's going back.
Oh, cool. I text his big head buddy. He just got, Again, we have guys in the league. We're just not getting guys drafted. So we need to fix that. And I think of Manning and I honestly very optimistic about what I think Quinn's going to do as well, because I've seen him around campus. He's speaking of, female, basketball team. Him and the guys have gone out. They support them like crazy.
Yeah, it's great.
He's doing his thing. I'm seeing some small, subtle things, even off the field from a leadership standpoint that I like. Yeah, that I really like. And I think that's what we've been missing. Certainly after Sam left.
Don't let the mullet fool you. Don't let the mullet fool. Seriously, like people think he's a
party in the back, business up front.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, and I'll close out with saying there is no better job in maybe all of sports than backup quarterback. You get paid, you get to be your major part of the team. I mean, see, if you guys like in my next life, I'll be a backup QB in the NFL, maybe 2 lives down the line. I'll be a backup QB in the NFL with a couple of Copenhagens in the mouth and a Topo Chico on the sideline, just cracking jokes. That's sounds like the life to me.
Living your best life, baby.
Yes, sir.
If we want guys to get drafted, we need to win first. Seriously, that's really what it comes down to. And Manny, who said it last week, that a lot of these guys aren't really concerned about winning as much as they are about having fun and doing their thing and being on social media and like just caring about their image, right? And so when they get to the league, they start to experience, okay, wow, like maybe, winning is important here. Like I'm at the league now and I want to get a ring. And now they're playing to that level and just haven't had a system in place around them that has put winning at a premium.
Yeah.
Hasn't been there since you were there, Quan. So, we need to get back on track, and then that'll just kind of, the draft prospects will come next. I mean, you look at every school that wins football games, they get a ton of guys drafted.
Absolutely. Well, gents, great stuff. Always a pleasure. Fans out there, get your horns up. Joshua Fisher, Alexander Desopoulos, Nikki Snacks Kreider, Quan Cosby, the Horns Up Talking Texas podcast. We will see you guys next time. Let's beat Vatech and then Purdue.